Who's ready for some boom, baby, boom? Rise and shine. Ah, shit. Ah, shit. There's no shine. There's some clouds. There's some wind. There's some trash. Hell, there's the public bus from yesterday. This is what reality is. And it's high time, we're about to smoke the morning marijuana motivation, that we turn our thoughts into reality. It was shocking to me yesterday. I had a girl that was at peace turn into anger. And I was like, wow, I remember when I used to be like that. It wasn't like, who the fuck does she think she is or what's her fucking problem? It was like, I remember that issue with myself and that was my problem. And this is Saints Addiction. I have the power. There's the logo. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. There's the logo again, you know. We put these things on. Boom, baby, boom. Light them up. Light it up, light it up, light it up. I'm on fire. And these are lessons learned. Has to be learned. Has to be replicated, duplicated, and improved. You know, it's always we are taught by our anger. It's always that we're in the middle of our blessings and we're staying frustrated, and then we get frustrated or we let the anger out, and then guess what? Bye bye blessing, bye bye knowledge, and bye bye the situation becoming better. And this is why I'm having this conversation this morning with you. Oh shit, I got a little spliffy here too. From yesterday, let's get it. How we live, I'm getting up. Welcome to the morning motivation. Welcome to the Xander Zone. As they used to say on Triple X, but welcome to the Saint Zone, where I'm zoned in on my life, where I don't block my blessings no more. And yes, your thoughts are into your reality. If you secretly hold a divorce in your heart, or a death in your family, or you live in depression inside, it slowly comes outside. I keep saying it, if you don't handle it, it'll come out sideways. And most people are like, what do you mean? And it's like, well, you didn't mean to get mean, right? But your anger has now bit the hand that feeds you, and now you're just going to be even more frustrated. And that's what it is. Instead of our brains alleviating the pain, there's a little bit of shine. That's right, get on through those clouds. We double down on the pain. We want, I remember my Scorpio friend saying this in Brazil, and she told me, but Saint, I don't want to hurt alone. And it's like, what did Martin Luther King say? Violence begots more violence. And that's what we're doing. We're doubling down on stupidity. Yes, we are. We haven't learned the lesson to control ourselves. And without self-control, there won't be any outward control. There won't be any control over your finances. There won't be control over your thoughts. There won't be any control over your physicality. You would literally be blown by the wind every time something doesn't come out the way you intended, right? And this is why it makes it so frustrating, because I've been there. I've been frustrated. It's a human experience. Part of what I learned is not to share my frustration. Part of what I learned is to share my rewiring. Like, yeah, that happened, but at least I learned. And to reinforce it inside my own brain, inside my own soul, and to flip the script. Saints Addiction, baby, flip the script and say, okay, what was I supposed to learn from this lesson, instead of why did it happen to me? Not then, why? In the hands in the sky, cursing the gods out. What I need to be cursing my negative thoughts out. Killing those ants, man, those automatic negative thoughts. Killing that frustration and stop blocking my blessings. It's just such a trip. I mean, this chick was so cool, and then she blew her. She shut up. She said it 3 times in a row. This was in a message, and I was just telling her she needed better lighting. She thought she couldn't handle it. She could handle the constructive criticism. I've been there. I was in my shop, and Michelle came in, and she was coming to visit, and she just got right up, stood in the doorway and said, "You know what's wrong with this room?" And I went, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, stop, dude. Don't come over to my spot talking shit." And I took it like criticism. Every time somebody told me something I didn't agree with, I was frustrated with them. I was like, "Don't you come over here telling me what's wrong. Nobody asked you." And I kind of blew up on her. She left, and our relationship's been stressed. I can't tell you how many times I've apologized to her for that outburst, you know? I could have just let her go on and just say her piece and kept it peaceful. But instead, I lost a friend because I lost my temper. And how many times do people lose their deals, lose sales, lose opportunities because they blocked their blessings? And I was so shocked at this behavior that I was like, you have to know that that's your own undoing. I even wrote it down for a morning motivation. I said, damn, bro, if you're in that, like in your head, like that way, right? And I want to talk about this like a lot deeper on a podcast. But what I wrote was, there it is. No, that ain't it. That's a shirt idea. But in my morning motivations, let's see, where did it go? Yep, I got plenty of shows. And I write long shows down, like deeper ideas, you know? Clever way you missed them. Getting mad. Oh no, it's on this other phone. Hold tight. Let me see. Hold tight. I'll look it up. All right, I sent it to myself because it was on the other part of the message. But one of the sentences I said, a bad mentality will only get bad results. If you lose your temper, then the person will get angry too. You're being reflective and absorbent at the same time, and literally reflecting back what you're giving, and anger that you're not dying from prison that you're dealing, and giving and angry that you're not dying from the poison that you're dealing. So you're getting frustrated and hoping that the other person gets frustrated. You start emitting that anger, and now everybody's frustrated. They're frustrated with you. They've lost their temper too. Now you're in a fight, and you don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, now you've emitted a frequency that distracts everybody. You know what I mean? Now everybody is getting frustrated with you, and you're like, what do I do? You control you. You got to control this inner sphere of you, all this emotionality. People, I tell people this all the time, but people don't buy cars from people that are going through a divorce. They're not here to hear out your mental instability. They're not here to teach you your mental instability. It's the missed opportunity that teaches you about missed opportunity. This is where you go, okay, either I can blame the person or I can blame myself, and blame is for children. What I really look for is, where's the lesson in it? You know, like, what was I doing at that time that made me lose that deal? Where was I at in my mentality that made it come out so awkwardly? And it was like a lot to learn, especially when I had my own shirt shop and I was arguing with a lot of the customers because I was so frustrated. I was frustrated with my machines being subpar. I was frustrated with me and the learning curve sometimes when I had shirts and it didn't work, or I was even more frustrated when the customer got frustrated. Then I've been in physical fights in my own shop with a really big dude that brought another dude, and I thought I was gonna get jumped. You know what I mean? All over some fucking Dickies shirts, bro. Like some vinyl shirts that I made, and I was so working hard on this stuff. I would bring work home with me. I would have my girlfriend help me. You know what I mean? And all these things. Okay, that's just another van that pulled up. And in that frustration, I lost my orientation. I lost the fact that I should be grateful for people bringing me business instead of sharing my frustration with them. And then they have the experience of that wasn't an easy transaction. Sure, they brought them to me, but they could have brought them to anybody. They could have brought those shirts to somebody that gave them no headache, not fight them at their own shop, and get the product that they want without any frustration possible. That's all of us. We're all looking for clever ways to get people to like work for us or do something for us or to get what we want out of them, right? We're very clever that way, you know, manipulating situations so that way we don't have to call back, or using the block button often, or not being communicating. Next thing you know, there's no more deals. right? Like if you don't follow up with your customers, by the time that you talk to them, they'll be frustrated. I had my friend fix this phone, and I must have left them several messages like, just get the new phone. It's $100. If the screen's 70, I might as well spend the extra 30. It cost me about $100 to get the phone screen fixed, right? But guess what? It still doesn't work. The screen doesn't work. He didn't want to hear about it. I hit him up in the DMs, and he's like, man, don't be hitting me up in my messages and complaining about shit. And I was like, bro, if you had listened to the messages in the first place, I wouldn't be complaining now. He didn't want to hear it. And there it is. He would rather lose a customer, lose a friend, and have enough money where he can just go on with his life. But I was the happier person. I was the one that was still traveling. I was the one with the smile on my face. And now he's all serious with the government job. And I was like, bro, you completely missed the point of customer retention. It takes 8 times more, I think, in business terms, 8 more approaches to get a new customer, but it takes only a follow-up call to keep a current customer. And most of us won't do that extra work. We won't do the follow-up calls. It's too much for us. And that's what I saw another investor say. I actually saw an investor say something like that, where they're like, hold on, I'll see it, right? Let me see it. I saw a customer or a real big investor on, it's called LinkedIn, right? And one of the things that he was saying is people don't call back. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it. No, that ain't it either. But the amount of turnover for people that do all the work to reach out, right? But they don't do the work to follow up. They're wondering why their reality isn't in their thoughts. They're wondering why this customer isn't buying more from them. They're wondering why they're not succeeding in life, and they're wondering why their sales aren't going up. It's your follow through. I guarantee you. It's your vibe. You know what I mean? If everybody's so about their vibe, this is what it takes to go live. You know what I mean? Let me get this. Allergies. To get my life to be live, I have to be aware of my vibe. I got to be aware of the way I'm coming at people. Am I transcribing what I'm about to do with that business? In essence, that's what business is. You're saying, I'm trusting you to do the task that I'm paying you to do, and to be trustworthy enough to say, hey, I'm not going to lose my temper. Ask the last 10 customers. I am going to follow through. Ask the last 100 customers. And your money is safe with me because I'm not just going to take it. I'm going to have to transform it into the product that you asked for. Most people ain't trying to do that, bro. Most people are trying to come up with an excuse. Oh yeah, they'll get the down payment. They'll get some money out of you. But what you're about to get is a bunch of excuses, a bunch of incomplete promises. They overpromised, and oh my God, the danky amount of fucking weed that I got. I can't wait for Joint Weed Club to go live, you guys. Look at this. Connie Chung, my friend dropped some off. Purebred. Literally, I ran out of weed. I'm down to my last nug, and the homie came through and dropped me 4 free grams. LA Bomba that he grew himself. Weed Club's growing worldwide. Sweet Tooth. All of these things, right, were gifted to me. I couldn't calculate that, but I can believe in the universe and my vibe being right. So if I'm off, right, and I'm not on it, like in my head, then I lose the opportunity to see a friend that I haven't seen in over like 7 years. And then for him to come through yesterday and drop me all this gear, and reinforce, my supply, because I didn't live a lie. I'm still me. I'm still with it. I still remember him. I still remember when we first hung out. I still remember the person that introduced us, and he still remembered me. And because of my vibe and that reality, I now have weed from someone that hand grew it, and reinforced our relationship. Now, if I had shown up and be like, I don't remember you, or what the fuck you staring at, or whatever kind of weird vibe would scare off that other vibe, right? We got vibe against vibe here, right? I would have never got the weed that I have in front of me. I would have burnt a blessing from a friend that missed me and hasn't seen me in a long time. And if I had said, what the fuck you staring at, or didn't remember him, or kept that kind of attitude, let people stare. That's what I wanted anyway. That's why I made these clothes so bright. I knew people were already staring at me anyway. They're like, who is this guy? Where's he from? What are you doing here? Well, Vegas. What the fuck you doing in Vanta? You know what I mean? And people ask me all the time, what are you doing here? I'm here to visit my friends. You know, if I told them the truth that I'm here to work on business or I'm here to work on my peace, they wouldn't understand that. You know, they wouldn't understand the concept of leaving chaotic Vegas so I could get my mind right and my business right. Plus, my teammate is in Denmark, and I got to go and manifest a trip to him and make sure that we get this the social media tight. It's all part of the plan. But if I had never developed, if I never saw myself grow inside myself and sat still long enough to say, hey, bro, you've been blocking blessings, or for constructive criticism. I had my buddy Ronnie was telling me, Mark, you get so many referrals, but you lose a lot of customers. And I was like, that's so fucking true. Now it hurt to hear, but it was true. And if I could swallow that little pill, even though he was getting in fights with customers all the time, I was telling him, you too, bro, you get frustrated with customers. I can't tell you many fist fights I've seen at the print shop. So obviously you need the lesson too. But my buddy is a bit of a stubborn, he's a bit of a racist, and he don't listen very well. So he'll still get the Google searches, you know what I mean? And he'll still get customers that show up, but then all of a sudden it'll be my brother who went to his print shop instead of mine, and he goes, that guy's absolutely rubbish. My brother was so sideways with Ronnie, going like, yeah, that's the dude. And he even sent me a picture, and Ronnie's like, no, I didn't have a Jeremy. I didn't help a Jeremy, you know what I mean? And my brother's like, here's the address, here's the dude. And sure as shit, it was Ronnie that fucked up his shirts twice. Right? And I was like, you should have came to me, bro. And what did I do? I went and grabbed the heat press, went to his shop and hand pressed all his Allstate shirts personally for free because he's my bro. You know what I mean? But like, your reputation will precede you, you know, how you interact, people will feel that vibe before you even speak. You know what I mean? It's what my spiritual mentor Terry Prince would say, you who you are shout so loudly I can't even hear you. So by the time it was time to do a deal and make some money, this girl blew a $500 deal by saying shut up 5 different times. She was just lost her temper. She's like, I know I have anger issues, and I know this. And this Latina woman came out, and it was just like, we are for sure going to blow the candles off each cake that we're given. All those blessings are just blown off onto the floor, and then we'll be even more frustrated that we were this close to having an opportunity that we blew ourselves, right? You know, and we'll look around and try to blame somebody else, just like a child, because that's what children do. They look for their parents to be their feelings or their security blanket or undo what they've already do, you know. And I'm like, here to tell you, that's your lesson. That's your lesson to learn to swim, you know, learn to swim when you're frustrated, learn to swim when things don't go your way, you know, find a way to find your center, and you will have it every day, you know. But if you always constantly tip me over and pour me out, if you can always constantly be extremely frustrated and never get the chance to see what you're about, then you're hiding from the lesson. You're hiding from the blessing. You didn't see that the gods above were trying to teach you, you know, the universe was trying to reach, preach, and teach to you how to control you, you know? And a lot of us, especially in the anger game, we just want to be powerful, right? We want to tell somebody to shut up. Well, then they'll shut up. Then they won't talk to you. Then you're getting blocked, and now you got nothing from them. They shut up for sure. You ask them to shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Guess what? Now I've shut up shop, shut them down, open up shop, you know what I mean? Somewhere else. Find another connection, find somebody else that's less frustrating to make my shirts, you know? Find somebody else that's less of a headache to deal with. Find somebody else that's easier to understand. And this is what I meant when I'm saying these experiences. You know, it's like you are literally setting yourself up for success or failure every time, depending on your mind, right? Like, depending how you're coming at the situation. We've all been there when we've been to Starbucks coffee and the girl's just like, hi, how's your day? And you're like, fuck, at least she gets it. But if it's, can I get your order? You're going to be like, I'm ordering less. Right? And now there's a whole psychology thing about it. You know, they did a study where I think they gave a balloon before the person went into the movie and then they gave a balloon after the movie kind of thing to see how the person would react to the situation at hand. And that's what this is about. This universe is constantly in a test to see how you will react to the new day. You know, are you appreciating your new day? Are you like, yes, I get a new day, I get blessed? I'm like, I was thinking, I said food, roof, and bed, I am happy, and not in dread. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, wow, dude, you know, I'm comfortable in these sheets, this new apartment with me, and that I can wake up with amenities and have this so much blessings, and sit there and reflect on times when I didn't have a place to stay, or I was staying on someone's floor or someone's couch or somebody uncomfortable. Been there, done that. Now I got my own spot, and I'm just like, let this sink in. Let me appreciate this kind of moment. Let me have the ability to switch my vibration so that I get more moments like this. My test is to remember that I can always survive. It's not to count my bank account, it's to count my blessings. And that's what I'm doing. I'm reinforcing the blessings and not the stressings. I'm sitting there being accountable for my actions and counting my blessings, and I'm gonna stop stressing and stressing other motherfuckers out. I don't want to be sharing my frustration. I want to be sharing my dream. I don't want to be drilling holes in my canoe. I want to swim. And when you learn to swim, then you survive. You know, you survive your mind and your life, because now you're not setting yourself up for failure. You're not doubling down on stupidity, and you're not drilling holes in your canoe. You're going to see that every time you lose your temper, you lose the deal. And I had to learn that the hard way, you know? Like, people aren't there to pay for a headache. They're there to pay for solutions. And that's what Intersect.ai is all about, is where are your headaches? Are you having trouble posting every day? Boom, there's media in a sec. What about editing your videos? Boom, there's video in a sec. What about your website? I got a guy that called me last night. You're the only guy that I know that does website. Boom, I got you, bro. Let's go. First customers signing up. They remember the referral. They remember my energy, and I keep it the same. So when the time he called me, he's, oh yeah, buddy, how's it going? Yeah, we're still selling homes in Colorado. And I'm going to need an investor website too. And it just became a multiplication effect, because I'm ready to multiply inside myself. I'm ready to not lie. I'm ready to be present. I'm definitely sober. So that way, when the blessings come my way, they feel blessed that I'm answering the phone. They feel blessed that I'm going to complete what they asked for. And they feel like it was serendipitous that I'm doing I'm undoing the headache that they have. You know, like, oh yeah, I know a guy. That's all I want them to say. I know a weed guy. I know a shirt guy. I know an AI guy. That's all I want them to say. They can say whatever they want to say about me, my reputation, my life, all these things, right? But what I really want them to say is, I want to deal with that guy. Instead of, I don't want to deal with that guy, I want to deal with that guy. I want to deal with his vibe. I want to do deals with him and get touchdowns with him. Make him a part of the plan. Make him a part of the solution, instead of pushing people away and being aggravated and blowing the deals up before they even get started. I was just like, fucking hell, man. And I've been there, you know, all of us, you know. My grandma's got cancer. I have two friends that had grandmas that died 94 and 95 years old. And even my friend who used to be a mortician, he started telling me stories too. And I was like, bro, you should do a podcast, man. That's wild, you know. People have never seen decomposing corpse. They've never seen a decapitated body, and they've never heard of all the real truths of these situations when they happen. And this is why I'm trying to make it, that's why I'm making it happen, Captain. I'm making it happen inside myself. I'm making the possibilities happen. I'm keeping myself open for the opportunities, and I'm not blocking my blessings. And one surefire way to lose the day is to stay frustrated and not understand what's happening. You know, that's the quickest way to blow yourself up, get concerned over things that should have got concentration, Focus on negativity and judgment, like this lady right here that was just staring at me, you know, and looking for a way to get pissed off instead of looking for a way to connect. They say this all the time in relationships. They say connect before you correct, but most of us don't do that. We'll just want to pick people apart and pick the situation apart and talk shit instead of alleviate it and go above it. We'll be all up in it inside of our heads, being fucking weirdos about the situation and wonder why people are giving us weird energy. You get what you give. It's a very reflective universe, and it knows your truth. It knows if you truly believe or if you're trying to deceive. Oh, what a tangled web we weave once we try to deceive. And that's your boy, William Shakespeare. You know what I mean? When you're deceiving others and deceiving yourself and you got deceit in your heart, you know, you can't cover it up. She couldn't cover up her anger. She couldn't bite her mouth long enough to get the deal. And that's what we do. I've oversold deals. What the girl said, idioti. She called me an idiot, that I was so close to kissing diamonds on her lips, and that this opportunity was going to be missed, and that's what ended up happening. I got dissed, you know. I dissed myself. I dissed my health. I dissed my future, and no longer do I want to be that way. I was sick of being in my own way. You know what I mean? Like, I got pissed enough to miss the bus, and there was no one else to blame. Either I was going to show up and be on time and be accountable and be at a peace of mind, or my mind at peace, or I was going to be frustrated, bumping my head into people and not understanding why these deals weren't going through, or why I was fighting people in my shop, or why my life was being that way. Oh shit, she's going to get a ticket today. She didn't see it yet. She didn't see it yet, but she's about to. Oh shit, she's about to see the repercussions. She's about to see the ticket. She's about to see the frustration. And I bet she says, fuck them, they did it, instead of, hey, I should have bought the ticket. Or I should have seen that coming. Or I should have set myself up for success. Instead, she just set herself up for stress. She just made her life hard. Now she has to live with the consequences. She has the yellow ticket on her car, and now the rest of her day she'll have to park it and find out there was a consequence for her actions. She should have fucking bought the fucking ticket like everybody else, but now she got a ticket. You know, we don't want to see it. We just want to be frustrated. We want to blame somebody else and be like, damn it, why'd you give me a ticket when you could have parked on the street? You could have parked down here, and you know what I mean? Andy with the steal, if you know what I mean. Earn your keep. Movies on shirts. You got to earn your keep. You got to earn your mental stability. You got to earn your deals, and that's the way you do it. You do it by being present before the deal. You do it by being with it instead of criticizing it. You learn how to connect with it. You know how to connect with yourself. You know how to connect with customers, and that's what they want. They don't want to hear you answering the phone like, what's good about it? Like, good morning. What's good about it? You know, good morning's bad, bro. How you been? How's business? I remember you. These are all things people want to hear. Just like their name. It's one of the most attractive words in all of the alphabet for us is our name. And that's why one of the girls repeats the people's names over and over again. It's something she learned in How to Win Friends and Influence People. Right? If you want to win friends and influence people, read the fucking book. Practice those laws. Talk more about them than yourself. Don't let your personal life bleed into your blessings. And don't let your light dim because you're getting angry. You know what I mean? It's always going to backfire on you. It's always going to be fire when you fight with fire. And I wanted people to fight with desire. That's right. The real fucking ignition, the real lit, the real morning motivation is not to wait for the inspiration, but to use the difficulty. And that's what I was watching Michael Caine. I'll leave this last one, but it was so true. And he was like, acting, he was a young actor, and the chair got in his way in a scene. Well, the director told him, use the difficulty. He said, what do you mean? He said, well, if it's a comedy, trip over the chair. If it's a drama, throw the chair across the room. Use the difficulty. And he applied it in his life, right? There you go, bro. There you go, bro. and he applied it in his life. And that's what I'm asking you to do in this morning motivation. The rest of your life is to use the difficulty. The relationship didn't work out. Sounds like gym time to me, you know. You got a broken heart. I concentrated on Saints Addiction every time and did something for my business every time I thought about my broken heart. This is the truth. And it was a lot. So I kept doing a lot for my business, and now my business is a lot, you know? So you can let these things end you. You can let these things stop you, or you can turn them into fuel and make it ignite you. And that's what I want people to do. I want them to stay ignited. I want them to lift off. I want them to get past the pressure of gravity. I want them to get into the atmosphere, break through the stratosphere, and go into space where it's nothing but peace and silence and floating. You know, you want to be in flow and orbiting around these situations like a satellite, ready to transmit all the information and all the data just right, so that way you keep the deals, you keep the blessings, and you don't keep the stressings. That's your morning marijuana motivation on my heart from the start. Your boy Marky Saint. Peace and love. And as always, Chigathon. That means goodbye, but not forever in Finnish. And I'm here in Finland. So I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. But the other side of your fucking fear, dude. The other side of your excuses and the other side of the world, because that's where I'll be, bro. All the other stuff is wasting time. And I ain't about that life. See you. Peace. Go live your life. Go outside.